Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP, and I wanted to talk about the relation between Enneagram 6 and autism. For me, personally, there might not be a correlation or anything. I'm an INFP 6 wing 7 in the Enneagram. I think sometimes that I might be an Enneagram 4, and sometimes I'm between 6 and 4, but in the end it always ends up landing on 6. I just got diagnosed with autism last month, and so I started realizing that maybe these things are connected. And I feel like Enneagram 6 and autism are more connected than my INFP-ness is connected to autism or my Enneagram, actually. And that's because I think that Enneagram is connected to your upbringing and your trauma, and there is an actual theory about how Enneagram types are developed through childhood because of what strategies you decided to adopt to survive. So the Enneagram 6 wants security, is a loyal person often, is often very scared and hypervigilant, and the path to growth is to become more self-assured and to be able to provide that source of stability and courage to others. But often Enneagram 6s are paralyzed with fear because they're a head type, so they overthink and they get paralyzed with fear. They don't like instability, and they often want to belong and fit in. So yeah, and I realized, a big part of this is my autism. So is it my autism that made me into an Enneagram 6, or is it my Enneagram 6 or is it because of trauma that I became an Enneagram 6? The trauma might be linked to autism, might be not. And then there is, sorry, I just got a message. There is does Enneagram 6 affect my autism? Or is this all just the same concept, or is it just one of the concepts and not the other? Hard to say, but I would say that my autism, because I was autistic, I've had to be hypervigilant because people would take advantage of me more easily than another person. They would take advantage of my naivete, how gullible I was, me not understanding certain social things. And so I had to be on my guard because of that. I grew up in a very loving family and a very stable family, so it doesn't really make sense as to why I became an Enneagram 6. But if you take into account autism, then it maybe might make sense. So there's the hypervigilance. The loyalty is because I had very few friends, and so I would stick to those friends that I had, and that is common in autistic people, that we will latch on to whatever person is there, and so that makes for a very loyal, very devoted friend, like an Enneagram 6 is. Autism leads to anxiety, which is part of the makeup of an Enneagram 6. And I think that in a way, Enneagram 6 was kind of a mask, an autistic mask that I had to put on in order to belong. I was really interested in belonging, which is difficult if you're an autistic person. Then I would put on this very friendly, personable mask of like your everyday girl, you know. Had I been an Enneagram 4, I guess that I would have stood out, wanted to stand out more. And I did stand out, and I knew that I was unique, but I didn't want to be that person who's standing out all the time. I wanted rather to be invisible. So I can see how these things are pretty similar, because autism leads to trauma and trauma leads to Enneagram 6. But you know, the trauma could have morphed into different Enneagram types. It just happened to decide on 2 Enneagram 6 for me. I just watched a video by Love Who about how INFPs are unlikely to be in Enneagram 6. It's a video about all the Enneagram types and all the MBTI types that are associated. And he puts INFPs as unlikely to be Enneagram 6, which I understand. You'd see probably more INFP being Enneagram 4, or in a lesser case, maybe 9 or 2, but not really into Enneagram 6. But that's where I think that I fit on this scale. I don't know really what to make of this. What is the important lesson out of this? But it is interesting to think of, you know. Had I not been autistic, maybe I wouldn't have been this personality type. I don't know. Had I not been this Enneagram, maybe my autistic life would have looked different, you know. Not that I wouldn't have developed autism, because I guess I was born with it, but the way I would present myself would be very different. Imagine if I was an Enneagram, I don't know, 3. I decided to cope with the fact that I was autistic by being extremely successful and everything, you know. Would I have become an INFP then, you know, if I, or if I was an Enneagram 8, if I decided, if my child brain decided that it was tired of being bullied and decided to just be strong and to not rely on anybody else, and to turn into an Enneagram 8. Probably would have needed an extra dose of trauma of some kind in order to turn me into an Enneagram 8. But because, well, you know, but I don't know what comes first, you know, the Enneagram, the MBTI type, or the autism. I tend to think that autism was born with, and that the rest comes later. But that doesn't mean that the development of autism comes first, you know. It's hard to say, you know, what comes first and what affects what. But I do think that my autism might explain why I would be such a weird combination of INFP and Enneagram 6. Because otherwise I think that I would very much be an INFP Enneagram 4 if it weren't for the autism. Because I do relate a lot to Enneagram 4 and such. Maybe I am just an Enneagram 4, and the me looking like Enneagram 6 might be just my autism masking the Enneagram 4 with a dose of being scared of change and being scared of standing out and all that. but yeah, so I find that this an interesting topic. I don't think I can argue more or like go into a further discussion about it, but I would be interested in knowing what your thoughts are on this, because I find that it is pretty interesting. I'm not very well versed into Enneagram compared to MBTI and autism, but I do find it interesting why I would end up in such a weird combination, you know? Because I don't want to stand out. No, not because of that, but because it is just confusing. And yes, I do want to belong, so it is hard when I can't find anybody else who can relate. That's kind of part of why I have this channel, is because I want people to relate, and that is a very Enneagram 6 thing to want. I guess I do like flaunting my uniqueness, and I am a little bit of a drama queen, which is a little bit of an Enneagram 4 thing to be, but I don't know. It's hard for me to tell what is what. But I am quite certain of my MBTI type and of the fact that I am autistic. So the Enneagram is less important to me. But it has made me think of like, why did I become an Enneagram 6? Does it have to do with my autism, and in which way? So yeah, tell me what you guys think. Have a great day.